I now call the meeting to order. Can we all raise our right hands for the national anthem, please? So a very good evening, friends. Today we have amongst us Dr. Murad Lala, who is going to be talking to us about his journey to the Mount Everest. Friends, before we start our talk, I have a few announcements and an update of our community service projects that we have been doing. Friends, our crowdfunding platform to support the nurses with wellness kits has raised close to 44 lakh rupees, and we are going strong. We have 3 more days to go, and the campaign will be ending after 3 more days. We are very close to our goal to support 5,000 nurses in our city. The distribution process of the same is going on in various BMC hospitals and health posts, and a lot of members have been volunteering. But friends, we need more helping hands. Please do come forward and join us to see the grateful smiles on the faces of these nurses. I would like to acknowledge the 34 members who have been involved in raising funds for this cause. So, great going, Alkesh Shah, Apurva Shah, past President Darshan Mehta, Dhrumal Parikh, Dipen Mashru, past President Himang Engineer, Jatin Parekh, Jayesh Vidhani, Jitin Sangvi, Kaushal Mehta, Ketan Sheth, Manish Bayani, past President Pavan Barasya, past President Pradeep Kabra, Samina Khurakiwala, Samir Shah, Sanjay Shah, past President Sanjay Jalan, Sanjeev Savla, Shashank Shah, Sonali Shah, Tejal Damani, Urvi Modi, Vikrant Rambia, Vimal Shah, Yatish Jasani, Kanan Mehta, Kulin Patrawala, Temina Sharma, Lautika Mehra, Ruchita Cheda, Anish and Neeta Soneja, Zamir Vahanwati, and myself. I would also acknowledge and thank CP Jayesh Vidhani for offering his place to store all the contents of the kit and also help with the transportation. Great teamwork by Vikrant Rambia, Sharad Loya, and Jitin Sangvi. They have been coordinating all the distributions, the kits, the printing, everything. Great going, guys. Further to this, we have donated 2 oxygen concentrators to Dayanand Hospital today in Talasari, and we also distributed the 40 wellness kits to the nurses in the hospital as well. So coming to our rural project, friends, our check dam at Garatwadi, which was under construction, is almost ready. And very happy to share that we will be starting the construction of our second check dam at Kasadwadi in a few days. We will be constructing a borewell there as well. So friends, this is the update that I had to give you all about the ongoing community service projects. Apart from this, I have an appeal to make. Everybody, all of us know that Sangopita is the shelter is something that we have been supporting since many years. We've done multiple projects there. So friends, during this storm, this place has suffered a lot of damage. The roof has been blown off, and I have sent an email today evening regarding this. So the cost of fixing this entire problem, this whole structure is around 2.5 lakh rupees. So if anybody would like to contribute towards the same, definitely please get in touch with us. And we should try and help them and try and fix this before the monsoons come and further damage that place. So that's it. And one last announcement is, friends, the DISCON is coming up on the 30th of May. It's a full day event from 9 to 6. Big, good array of speakers, industrialists, Bollywood stars, and whatnot. Great lineup. I have shared those videos also on the chat. And for the first time, it is coming at a cost of only 750 rupees. So do sign up for it as well. The details are on the WhatsApp chat. So that's it from my side. And let's move on for the much awaited meeting. I'm really looking forward to see the beautiful videos of Dr. Murad Lala. So can I invite Preetam to introduce Doc, please? Preetam.
Hello, Smita. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the pleasant task of introducing my dear friend, colleague, and this amazing person, Dr. Murad Lala. He can describe it as maybe an ordinary person with an extraordinary dream, and he has already had some extraordinary achievements. So Dr. Murad Lala is an alumnus of the Lawrence School and is a cancer surgeon working at PD Hinduja National Hospital, Mumbai. He's been there for the past 18 years, huge amount of experience behind him. He's young enough to seek adventure and mature enough not to be foolhardy. And he believes in getting out of his comfort zone and pushing himself and pushing the envelope, and has made time away from his profession and challenged himself in other arenas of life to make himself a very mature and complete person. So, today we have a cancer surgeon who's not going to talk to us about cancer. So let's see what he's going to talk to us about. So Dr. Murad became the first Indian civilian doctor to summit Mount Everest on 19th of May 2013 at 9:10 a.m. He has just proved to himself by doing this what he always believed in, that limitations exist only in the human mind. But such a task doesn't come easy and without preparation. Towards realizing this dream, almost a year before, in October 2012, he summited 3 peaks of 20,000 feet around Mount Everest. So he was camped 1 year before near Mount Everest for almost a month, where they underwent vigorous training in basic and advanced mountaineering, in rock climbing, in snowcraft, and that is what gears them to take on the challenge of summiting the highest point on earth. And then when the reckoning came in 2013, Murad was part of a 5-member multinational team. They called themselves the Peak Freaks. They were the Peak Freaks. And they spent about 6 weeks at the EBC, was the Everest base camp, training and acclimatizing for the summit push. And all members were successful in safely summiting Mount Everest, maintaining the flawless safety records of the Peak Freaks. So I'm not going to talk more about this because this is what he's going to talk to you about. But, I'll just deviate a little bit. And that is, besides mountaineering, he's also, taken part in various other extreme sports. He's participated in the Raid the Himalaya, the Himalayan car rally, on multiple occasions. And at times, even with his wife, Dr. Murad Lala, amazing person like him, who's a pediatrician and an adventure sports enthusiast herself. Dr. Murad has basic and advanced training in Arctic polar training from Norway. He has participated in the Standard Chartered half marathon for almost, I don't know how many years. I think it's multiple years. Nowadays, you don't even ask him. You ask him whether Murad is a marathon over. And he likes skydiving, bungee jumping, parasailing, whitewater rafting, and whatnot. So having said that, before I hand over the mic to him, I'm going to quote something which he likes to quote often. And he says that the miracle is not that I submitted. The miracle is that I had the courage to take the first step. So we would like to know about those amazing steps you've taken, Dr. Murad, on Mount Everest. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Preetham. Thank you for that introduction. Can I share my screen?
Yeah. And Dr. Murad has suggested that we all keep our videos off. So probably the bandwidth of the Zoom increases. Am I right, Dr. Murad?
Yes, that's right, because they're very heavy videos and photographs also.
We
So
all will keep our videos off.
yes, if you can keep your videos off, and maybe then this will run a little more smooth. Generally, it's a pleasure to show this on the big screen, but obviously because of the pandemic, that's not possible. So let's see what best we can do. So climbing a mountain is different from other sports. The only opponents that you face are the demons that play in your mind. The only goals that you can score are the limits that you set for yourself, whether it is the summit or anywhere else in between. Many days, there's nothing you can do except wait for the bad weather to blow over before you continue your climb. Now, what is the aura associated with Mount Everest? We all know that it's the tallest mountain in the world, and it's the longest duration. It takes at least 2 months if you want to successfully summit this mountain. It's not like any other mountain where you go to the base and you keep climbing and climbing until you reach the top. If you try that on Mount Everest, you'll neither reach the top nor will you come back. And it's a very long waiting game. As I mentioned, there are many days you can do nothing except wait it out in your tent for the correct time to continue your climb. And Mount Everest, coming in at about 29,000 feet, it comes within these jet streams. These jet streams are very strong winds that rage across the earth with velocities of approximately 250 kilometers an hour. And it's just a few days every season that these jet streams move higher up and northwards towards China. And that's the time you have to make your summit push, reach the summit, and get back down before the jet winds come back. So there are very few days in the entire year that you can successfully summit this mountain. Of course, it is risky. Deaths and accidents are a reality on this mountain. In, I think, 2017, this photograph was flashed across a lot of newspapers saying the world's highest traffic jam on Mount Everest. That is actually not true. Because of the jet stream, as I said, there are just few days that you can summit the mountain. And in 2017, the jet stream had moved forward and the summit window was just for about 3 days. So everyone had to be at this point on the summit or on the mountain to be able to attempt the summit and get back down before the jet streams come back. And that is why everyone was sort of gathered here at this point. And that's when someone took this photograph and it splashed across the world saying that there's a big traffic jam on Mount Everest. Now, when I decided to summit this mountain, I had a problem that I had not done any formal mountaineering before this. And so I tried approaching the Indian Mountaineering Federation and other places to do my basic and advanced mountaineering courses. But I was told that this is not possible because I was too old. The cutoff age was 40 years, but I was going to be approximately 50 years. And so I was not able to do this. I scouted around abroad and I found a group called Peak Freaks that said that, yes, if you want to climb with us, then you can come and do this training expedition called the Triple Crown Expedition in Nepal in October 2012. And we climbed these 3 peaks of around 19,000, 20,000 feet. And while we were climbing these peaks, they teach you everything that you need to know about rock climbing, ice climbing, crevice crossing, crevice rescues, etc. And only after successfully doing this program of about a month will they invite you back for a bid at the summit. He is Tim Rippel. Here he's teaching me how to use the Gamoff bag. Now this sausage-shaped structure that you see is called the Gamoff bag. And it is, this bag sort of helps you in case you are on the mountain and someone gets acute mountain sickness. It can be wrapped up into something like a laptop bag and be carried with us on the mountains. But in case on the mountains, anyone gets acute mountain sickness, you open up this bag, you pump it with that leg pump, and you put the sick climber into this bag, and it simulates a descent of about 5,000 feet, and it helps you buy time to get that sick climber off the mountains. I came back to Mumbai, and it's not the ideal place for someone who wants to summit Mount Everest. But I was lucky to find this high altitude gymnasium, and I would go for an hour every day into this gymnasium and practice in this chamber. And this chamber simulates an altitude of approximately 10,000 feet. So that before I actually get onto the mountains, I'm already acclimatized to 10,000 feet. So I would do this for an hour every day. And I tried to weave my work schedule into my training schedule, in the sense I would sometimes walk to work, walk back from work. I work at Hinduja Hospital, which has 16 floors. So many times I would not use the lift. I would climb up and down the stairs, and sort of that way try my best whenever possible to sort of improve my stamina. Now, we were truly an international team. We were 5 of us from 5 different continents, and I shall introduce you to my team one by one. The first member of my team is Sean Mooney. Sean Mooney was from Canada, and he was the Canadian chess boxing champion. I had never heard of this sport before. Apparently, you box in the ring, and when you're supposed to go to your 2 quarters to rest, a chessboard is brought into the center of the ring. You play chess for about 4 minutes, and then you get up and you start boxing again. So it's supposed to be the ultimate mental and physical endurance game. The next member of my team is Kevin Fairbrother. He's from Australia. Now, Kevin Fairbrother had successfully summited this mountain earlier, but this time he was attempting to summit the mountain without oxygen. So far, less than 100 people have done that in the world. Unfortunately, on the last day, he got too exhausted. He put on his oxygen, and it became his second successful summit with oxygen. The youngest in our team was Patrick from Ireland. He was 24 years old, sorry, at that time. He was 24 years old, but thin, wiry guy, and he was a vegan. And these Sherpas found it very difficult. What do you feed these vegans on the mountain? So they would give him some powder. They used to say, put water, put sugar, mix it and have it. And towards the end of the trip, they told him this is called champa. And this is what they feed the bulls and the yaks on the mountains with. Mentally very strong. We were once walking at approximately 20,000 feet, and our team leader got a call on his satellite phone telling us that Patrick's eldest brother had died in an avalanche in the United States. We thought that's the end of his trip. He's going to pack up and go back home. But he was very practical about it, saying it's going to take at least 5 days to get back to the United States from where we were, by which time all the formalities will be over. So he said he'll continue climbing in honor of his brother and do the summit in honor of his dead brother. So he continued climbing with us. The 4th person in the team was myself, the only Indian, the eldest in the group, and the only doctor in the group. And the 5th person was a lady. Lee Den Hon was from South Africa, and she was climbing for the HIV children of South Africa. Now, because of that, we had a film crew come in and film us all the way up to Everest Base Camp. And once a week, we were shown on TV in South Africa, and people were phoning in and pledging funds for the children with HIV in South Africa. Now, if you want to get into the Sagarmatha National Park region, that's where Mount Everest is, from Kathmandu, you have to take a small flight to a place called Lukla. Now, this Lukla airport, which is shown here, is considered one of the scariest airports in the world, because where the plane is coming in, you can see there's a deep valley at that end. The runway is just 400 meters long. And from where we are filming it, it is a big mountain. So this pilot has one attempt at a proper landing or a proper takeoff. There's no going around over here. And it's a very exciting flight that you're doing from Kathmandu, because you come in low in the valley with these huge mountains all around. And then you suddenly see this small matchstick of a runway on which you're supposed to land. And when we land safely, everyone is so relieved, they literally clap and say, okay, the first part of our trip is successful. Now, this airport is not open throughout the day. It is open just for a few hours every day when there are no winds, when there are no clouds, etc. And all the aircraft sort of come in together. They do a rapid, quick turnaround and get out as soon as possible because they don't want to be stuck over there. So you can see this plane coming in. It is doing a turnaround because the other aircraft goes out. And you can see the passengers standing on the tarmac over there. Now, because they're on the tarmac there, so that as this aircraft comes, the passengers inside jump out, the passengers outside jump in, and the plane takes off again. So that happens. And you can see this plane going for takeoff. but another aircraft has come into land. So it's lovely to stand at these points and see these planes coming in and going out. And now because it's so crowded, this aircraft sort of comes out, the other one goes in, and then only this can take off and go back to Kathmandu. So now that aircraft goes in, and this one turns around for takeoff. And actually, when this aircraft takes off now, it starts rolling, you'll appreciate that it's not a flat runway, there's a slope in the runway. So that's for takeoff, and that's the slope in the runway. So it's a very exciting flight to do in and out of Lukla. So in case you all don't want to summit Mount Everest, at least do this flight up to Lukla. It's a very exciting flight and a lovely trip to do. So once you reach Lukla, it's a totally different world. This is Lukla. There are no more roads, no more vehicles, and everything that you need for your climb goes in on the back of these yaks or the Nepali porters. These Nepali porters are phenomenally strong people. They carry these massive loads and still walk about 2 to 3 times faster than you can walk. From Lukla at 9,500 feet, you have to get to Everest Base Camp at 17,500 feet. You take it slow and easy when you get in, stopping at all these small tea houses along the way. The dictum being that you will not ascend more than 1,000 feet in a day so that your body has time to acclimatize to the altitude. And then it takes approximately a week for you to reach Everest Base Camp. And this are some of the visuals along the way. A lot of these suspension bridges that you pass, a lot of prayer stones, prayer flags, and of course the Tibetan prayer wheel. So whenever we see the prayer wheel, you keep it on your right and you move it in a clockwise direction and the prayers go up to heavens. So initially a lot of forest area, a lot of waterfalls, etc. you pass, but as you go higher and higher up into Sagarmatha National Park region, it gives way to rock, ice and snow. At a place called Dingboshe, the highest spiritual leader of Nepal, he resides over there and he does a special prayer, sort of blessing you for a safe onward journey, and then you continue your climb. So these are some of the visuals again along the way. The one on the right with the green haversack is me. The one in the blue haversack is Lee. And way ahead over there, you can see 2 of these peaks in the sky over there. You can see the 2 peaks, a lovely clear day. You think it's a perfect day to summit Mount Everest. The peak on the left is Mount Everest. The one on the right is Mount Nupse. But you can see the clouds being blown off the peaks. So the jet winds are there at this point of time. And this is a day you'll not be able to successfully summit Mount Everest. Before you reach Everest Base Camp, you come to a place called this hill over here, which is called the Monument Hill. And the team leader makes us sit down there and he gives us a serious talking to, telling us that this is serious business. There are deaths on this mountain, and every stone pile that we see here is called a chorten, and each one represents a climber who's lost his or her life while attempting to summit these mountains. So they said, if you want to turn back, now is the time to turn back. And then we reach Everest Base Camp at 17,600 feet. This international village of tents comes up only during the climbing season. The rest of the time, there's nothing over here. And this entire area is actually a glacier. So we have pitched our tents on a glacier. And it's a very unique feature for us city people to lie down or sleep on a glacier. The one in the tent in the front, the yellow tent is mine. We are sleeping here tonight. When I get up in the morning, my tent has shifted somewhere else. Once I got up rushed out of my tent, I went to my Sherpa and I said, there's water gushing under my tent. And he said, yes, obviously, it's a glacier, so go back to sleep. Things that are very common for them, but unique sort of for people like us from the city. Temperatures there range anywhere from -20 to plus 20. You suddenly get these ice formations in front of you, and then within a few hours, they disappear. Again, another big headline that we have heard is that Mount Everest is the world's highest garbage dump. Yes, it was true for some time, but the Nepal government has taken this pretty seriously. And in fact, we pay a garbage deposit to the Nepal government. And only after we clear up our campsite that they give back this garbage deposit to us. So not only that, but the Nepali Sherpas and everybody has been given an incentive to pick up all these used oxygen canisters, etc., that were originally left over there, and all the garbage, etc. So now the mountains have been pretty cleared up. This lady on the left is the campsite inspector. So she comes and confirms that all the garbage, all the refuse, including human waste, everything is taken off the mountains. And only then does the Nepal government give back the garbage deposit that we've given to them. This is the dining tent. This is a very warm tent for us, which will be home for us for the next 6 weeks. A lot of high energy food stuff, high energy drinks are kept on the table there. You're expected to have at least 4 to 6 liters of fluid every day to keep yourself well hydrated. And thanks again to the Nepali cooks, we get fantastic food at Everest Base Camp. And on special occasions, they even made sizzlers for us. Now, before you actually step onto Mount Everest and start your climb, a Tibetan monk comes in and does a special puja. Now, this puja is sort of seeking permission of Sagar Mata for us to step onto her. And only after this puja do they allow you to actually step onto the mountain and start climbing Mount Everest. This is at sunset. The peak on the left is Mount Everest. The one on the right is Mount Nupse. And I shall first show you in 3D animation what's the route we take up to the summit, and then show you the actual visuals. The first part of the climb actually is one of the toughest parts of the climb. It is from Everest Base Camp to Camp 1, because we have to cross something called the Khumbu Ice Fall. This Khumbu Ice Fall are towering blocks of ice that are sort of tumbling down the mountain. And a lot of crevice crossings, a lot of ladder crossings that you need to do. It's a very dangerous segment. You cross this Khumbu Ice Fall, you get across it, and you reach Camp 1. You spend a night at Camp 1, and then the next day you come back again all the way, cross the Khumbu Ice Fall, and come back again down to base camp. You again start this process. You cross the Khumbu Ice Fall, go to Camp 1, spend a night at Camp 1, and now you proceed towards Camp 2. Camp 1 to Camp 2, it is at 20,000 feet. It looks like a lovely flat area, an easy walk, but you're already at 20,000 feet. And the oxygen level there is just about 50% that at sea level. The other thing is that you always start climbing early morning when it's extremely cold. So you have all your layers on you. And it's just, as the sun comes up, the sun rays get reflected off the snow from all sides and hits you, and your body temperature starts rising. So you start sweating, but the moment the sun goes behind a cloud, the temperature plummets again, and the sweat on your body turns to ice. You can't allow that to happen. So every time this happens, you have to keep removing your layers, putting on your layers. So it's quite laborious even getting to Camp 2. You get to Camp 2, you spend a night over there. You again come back to Camp 1, spend a night, and come back again to base camp. You again start the whole process, cross the Khumbu Ice Fall, spend one night at Camp 1, one night at Camp 2, and now you proceed towards Camp 3. Camp 2 to Camp 3 again is a very difficult segment because it's a very steep Lhotse face that you have to climb. It's an extremely steep gradient, and it's just solid blue ice because as the snow falls on it, it gets blown away. So you have to keep climbing and climbing this difficult segment and continuing for approximately 6 to 8 hours to reach Camp 3. So this is a very difficult segment. And this is where it actually hit me. And I realized that I'm doing this on a whim. But what about my cancer patients? However difficult it gets for them, they have to keep on fighting. There is no turning back. And this sort of kept me going. And I continued to Camp 3. You spend a night there. Again, just acclimatize yourself. Come back to Camp 2, come back to Camp 1, and come back to base camp. This is the only way your body acclimatizes to the low oxygen levels. And then you proceed from Camp 3 to Camp 4. Once you enter Camp 4, it is at 26,000 feet, you enter what's called the death zone. The death zone because your muscles are slowly dying. So you reach Camp 4, you want to be in the death zone as little time as possible. You start your climb in the evening or early night from Camp 4. The entire night, you will continue climbing. You can't stop anywhere because you'll get hypothermia and it's too dangerous. You keep climbing the entire night, hoping to reach the summit sometime in the morning. You reach the summit, spend a few moments over there, take your photographs, and then again come back immediately back to Camp 4. So the last day, you're going to be almost 24 hours of continuous climbing if you want to successfully summit the mountain and come back to Camp 4. Now, these are the actual visuals. As I said, early morning, we start climbing, each climber with his or her headlamp. A very pretty sight to see this, but it's again very, very cold at this point of time. And this is the actual Khumbu ice fall. You can see how small, how minuscule we are in front of Mother Nature. These are towering blocks of ice, and literally on a day-to-day basis, the entire scene changes. The mountain behind me here is Mount Kumori. It is considered the daughter mountain of Mount Everest. And all the visuals and photographs you can see are taken with the GoPro camera on my helmet. And these are very specialized Everest boots that we wear. They themselves cost approximately 50,000 rupees. We also carry something called the Spot with us. This is a GPS device. We put it on the back of our backpack so that back home, family and friends can follow me on the mountains and know exactly at which spot I am. The red button on the right that you see is the SOS button. And in case any climber gets injured or needs a rescue, you press this SOS button, and depending upon the weather conditions and where on the mountain you are, they try to send in a helicopter to come in and rescue you. Now, luckily, while I was climbing Mount Everest, we did not have to use it. But when I was doing the training climb, exactly at this point near Island Peak, the climber behind me, she slipped and fractured her ankle. So you can see here, we've sort of splinted her one leg to the other leg. We pressed the SOS button, and in approximately 4 hours time, we had this helicopter come in for the rescue. Of course, where we were, they could not land. So we brought her down to a ledge, and luckily the helicopter could land there. We put her into the helicopter. She was evacuated to Kathmandu, and the same evening she got her ankle operated upon. Now this is coming back to the Khumbu ice fall. You can see this is also called the popcorn segment. And in fact, it was exactly at this point in 2014. I summited in 2013. In 2014, exactly at this point, there was an avalanche, and 14 or 16 Sherpas lost their lives. Because of that, in 2014, the entire climbing season was shut down and abandoned. And 2015, of course, because of the Nepal earthquake, again, nobody summited Mount Everest. As I said, this Khumbu ice fall, a very pretty, stark reality, stark nature at its rawest, and very beautiful. But your Sherpa will keep telling you, move, 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 because he wants to get through this difficult segment as soon as possible. A lot of ladder crossings, as I showed you. There's a lot of ladders that are kept there that we cross. And if you see, you can see a helicopter there in the sky. So in case a helicopter is going beyond base camp, it is going for a rescue mission. This is another time we just photographed a helicopter rescuing a climber, and that there is the climber. So many times the climber cannot sort of get into the helicopter, so they throw a rope down. You tie up the injured climber to the rope, and as a sling operation, the climber is brought off the mountain down to base camp, and then put into the helicopter and evacuated to Kathmandu. So this is again another part of the Khumbu ice fall, the popcorn segment. And here I'm doing a crevice crossing. The person behind me, his name is Mingmar. He is my personal Sherpa. He's literally my guardian angel on the mountains. And I always listen to him. If he tells me I should go across the segment, I will go. If he says it's too dangerous, do not move today, I will not do it. Again, here, these are different crevices that I'm crossing. Here was a large crevice that I needed to cross. And this video shows some clippings of what it looks like to do a crevice crossing. So these ladders, they are thrown across the crevice, and literally like this, we have to step across it very gingerly. Sometimes you see the bottom, sometimes you don't see the bottom. It didn't matter. I was scared either ways. And many times, even though we are climbing up, we have to sort of go down some segments and again find a safer path to climb up again. And it gets very frustrating because for every step you take down, you know you have to climb up that step. And at that altitude, every step is very sort of tiring and very laborious to take. You can see here, we are always clipped into a safety line. And many times you don't even see the ladders because they place the ladders there, but a snowfall comes, it's covered with snow, and you can't find the rung of the ladder. So this is how you get across the difficult segments. And I shall show you another crevice crossing. Yeah, this was a large crevice crossing that we need to do. And the whole thing sort of shakes also along with the wind. And you're wearing your crampons, which have these spikes on them. So it's really quite dangerous getting across these segments. You can see here fantastic ice formations, fantastic snow formations, and literally on a day-to-day basis, these change. And like this, sometimes it looks so dangerous, but if my Sherpa says, yes, it is safe to walk across this, I will hold that rope and walk across it. So initially it takes us about 8 hours, 10 hours sometimes to get across the segment to reach Camp 1. But we do it so many times up and down, that towards the end of our climb, it becomes much more easier and much faster. And I was doing it in approximately 5 to 6 hours towards the end of my climb. So we get across this segment and we reach Camp 1. Now this is Camp 1 at 19,500 feet. You can see our tents over there. And now no more Sherpas will cook for you. You carry your own utensils, you carry your own stove, your own food. And here, now I'm making Maggi noodles. The first time I went to Camp 1, we got caught in a blizzard. It is extremely scary to get caught in the blizzard. You sort of spread eagle yourself out on the tent. You're alone in your tent. You're just praying your tent doesn't get blown off. You can't speak to the person in the other tent because of the howling winds over there. You don't know how long this is going to last. So you start boiling the snow and keeping yourself hydrated. It lasted 2 nights. And the third day we got up to a clear blue sky like this. We could get out of our tents and get back to base camp. This is how it is when you step out into a blizzard. You dare not step out of your tent when it's howling winds like this. We always carry 2 bottles with us. One is the Nalgene bottle in which we carry fluid to drink. And the other one is the pee bottle, which is the pee bottle. Now, as I mentioned, it's too dangerous to get out of your tent at nights. So you open this bottle, you pee into it, you open the zip of your tent slightly, you're supposed to empty it out. Again, me being from the city, I didn't know that. So the first time I used my pee bottle and got up again to use it, it had frozen over and I could not use this pee bottle again. This is climbing towards Camp 2. And here at Camp 2, you can see a helicopter there at 21,000 feet. Now, this is the ceiling to which a helicopter will come. If you need rescue beyond this point, you have to come back at least to Camp 2 to hope for a rescue. The helicopters will not fly higher than this to try and rescue you. This is sunset at Camp 2. And now we start going towards the Lhotse phase. So this is the Lhotse phase, which I was telling you. And the person in yellow is me over here. And you can see it is just blue ice like this. It is very slippery. You have to keep kicking with your crampons, get a small ledge like that, get a foothold, then take your next foot. And that's how you have to gradually climb this difficult segment. Here, 4 of us are there. The 5th one is taking the photograph. You can see some climbers way down over there. And we're going higher up into the mountains. And this is a very constant feature on the mountain. It's called the Z band on the left. And even from the aircraft flying overhead, you can see the Z band, which is a very constant feature on the mountain. We get above the clouds and we reach Camp 2. At Camp 2, we are going to be 3 people per tent. So you can see only 2 tents put up over there. And you can see the snow being sort of just blown over there. It's extremely windy at this point on the Lhotse face. So this is at 24,000 feet. We reached Camp 3. And you can see one of the climbers has removed his socks. And I'm standing outside there. However tired you are, however exhausted you are at the end of the day, you have to take out your socks, clean the sweat between your toes, otherwise that turns to ice and can cause frostbite. And there is a saying on the mountain, it's not the mountain that kills you, it is the pebble in your shoes. So you have to take care of the little details, the nitty-gritty, and the big picture falls into place. So the entire month of April in 2013, we did this up, down, acclimatizing ourselves to the low oxygen levels. And then we got our weather inputs that told us that the weather summit window, which I had mentioned to you, is the only time you can actually reach the summit, was going to be between May 18th and May 29th. So our team leader chose May 19th as the summit day. And then we set off. Now you go directly from base camp to Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3, Camp 4. You go to the summit and you come back. So it's going to be 1 week of continuous climbing now if you want to successfully do this summit. So here we are crossed Camp 3 and we are going towards Camp 4. It's a lovely sight, a very pretty sight, but remember, you've come into the death zone now. So your body is slowly dying. It's extremely windy, extremely cold over there. And we could see this lovely rainbow at sunset as we were reaching Camp 4. And this was our team tent. It's called peakfreaks.com because our group's name was Peak Freaks. And this is at 26,000 feet. So we reached Camp 4. We spent the night in the tent, just breathing in the oxygen over there. And then you can see here, I sleep also with the oxygen because now it is just 1/3 level of oxygen compared to sea level. And these are very specialized titanium cylinders that we get, which are very lightweight and which we carry with us. On May 12th evening here, I'm getting ready for the main summit push. And on the last day, we'll carry only 2 oxygen cylinders, a few bars of chocolate, your water bottle, your camera, and that's it. There's going to be nothing more because you want to be as light as possible. And anyway, there's nowhere above this that you can camp. So you either reach the summit or you have to come back down. Here Mingmar is checking my oxygen cylinders, and then we set out. We set out from Camp 4 for the summit at approximately 6 o'clock in the evening. It was extremely cold. It was almost minus 35 degrees. And a lot of teams had chosen the same day for the summit push. And that's why you can see a whole lot of lights leading out together from Camp 4 going towards the summit. And in an hour's time, I was totally exhausted. And I didn't know how I was going to do this. And that's when teamwork comes in and team spirit comes in. Each one pushing the other one, saying 1 step forward, and slowly going up the mountain. At this point, it was approximately 9 o'clock. My headlight packed up. And I shouted out to my team leader and said, I don't have lights. So what to do? And he said, you either turn back or continue climbing without light. You don't need light so much to see where you're putting your foot on. You need light because you have to change your carabiner, that's your ascender, from one rope to the next rope and lock it securely again. You're wearing your gloves, you're wearing your mitts. It's extremely cold and it gets very clumsy to do that. But thanks to Mingmar, who's in front, and Lee, who was behind me, they kept throwing light and helping me along, and I could continue climbing. We continue climbing, you're more like a zombie, just putting one foot in front of the other. And the only time we stopped was at a place called the Balcony, where we stopped at around 2 a.m., where we change oxygen cylinders. We leave our old oxygen cylinder there. We'll pick it up again on the way back. We put on our fresh oxygen cylinder. We eat a bar of chocolate, and we again continue the climbing. So the entire night, you're just climbing and climbing. And the only thing that sort of enthuses you once again is the early morning sunrise. For a change, you actually see the sun rising from below you in the horizon and coming up into the sky. And it sort of warms you up a little, and you know that the bulk of your climb is behind you. And look what a perfect day had been chosen. Not a cloud in the sky. There were hardly any winds. It was a perfect day to summit Mount Everest. I was so exhausted. I'm not ashamed to say that many times when it came to rocky segments like this, I would literally crawl across it and then again stand up and continue climbing. So as we're climbing, we saw something called the pyramid. This is the shadow of Mount Everest on the Nepal Valley at sunrise. And on a clear day, you see this perfect, beautiful triangle shape, and we could capture it on film as well. So we keep climbing and climbing. And even at this point of time, after climbing the entire night, I cannot see the summit of Mount Everest. Even at this point, I can see only something called the South Summit. And this is the South Summit where we reach here, and then way ahead up there, you can see the actual summit of Mount Everest. That is me coming onto the South Summit. And then you have just 2 obstacles remaining. One is called this ridge. So this is the ridge. It's a very narrow segment that you need to get across. And climbers are crisscrossing each other. You are 29,000 feet almost, and you're exhausted from the entire night's climb, and you have to come across this precarious ledge. And I was really nervous at this point, and I asked my Sherpa, if I fall or if I slip, should I slip to the left or to the right? He said, fall to the right, fall to the right. You live longer. The fall to the left is only 8,000 feet. The fall to the right is 12,000 feet. And on the right actually is China side. And on the left, we have the Nepal side. We all know that Mount Everest is exactly on the border of China and Nepal. So anyway, very nervously, very gingerly, I managed to get across this segment. And then we come to the Hillary step. This is a Hillary step. It's a solid, straight rock face of about 40 feet. And even though it's at 29,000 feet high, as the snow falls on it, it just gets blown away and it's just bare rock. So you have to literally hold that rope, haul yourself up those 40 feet, sort of scamper over it and get across to the other side. And it's extremely difficult and exhausting at this point of time to do that. And because it's vertical, you don't even get a good foothold over there. It is just 40 feet, but it took me more than 20 minutes to haul myself up these 40 feet and cross over to the opposite side. And it's only here you can see I'm starting to climb it. And only once you reach the opposite side that you can see the summit in view, and you know that you are going to summit Mount Everest. So this is how it is at 29,000 feet. However athletic you are, whoever is the person, you just cannot walk faster than this. For every step that you take, you have to stop, regain your breath, and then the next step. You cannot walk faster than this, and you sort of take a step, again get back your breath, and again take a step again. You can see even here, as I'm reaching the summit, it's an absolutely clear day. A perfect day was chosen for us to be on the summit of Mount Everest. Okay, look at this. One step, stop. One step, stop. So that's how you inch your way towards the summit. And this is the summit of Mount Everest. These are all the prayer flags that have been put on the summit by the previous climbers. And this is the summit of Mount Everest. So here I am at the summit with Mingmar, my Sherpa, and the national flag. So at 9:10 a.m. on 19th May 2013, I had the privilege of standing on the summit of Mount Everest. But you can't savor this moment. You cannot just savor this moment. You cannot enjoy the views over there. You have to remove your mask. You have to remove your helmet. You have to remove your goggles. You have to photograph yourself at different points on the summit for the Nepal government to acknowledge that you actually reached the summit. And so you quickly take your photographs and you still have to come back down. You've got limited oxygen supply, and you can see that as I'm standing on the summit, the clouds are forming below me. The clouds just come in a jiffy over there. The weather just changes in a moment over there. And it's also playing on your mind that most of the deaths on Mount Everest happen on the way down and or not on the way up. So you quickly take your photographs, just look around, and again you start climbing down. You can see again the clouds have come in. Now I'll have to puncture through these clouds and get back to Camp 4. If anyone dies on this mountain in the death zone, about 26,000 feet, you do not, the bodies cannot be brought back. So there are a lot of dead bodies that you cross depending upon the snow conditions. You see some of them you don't see. This was a Japanese climber who had died a few years earlier, and it's a stark reality of the dangers you're facing. So you just say a silent prayer and you quickly continue climbing down, coming down very carefully because you know that it's more difficult and more accidents happen on the way down than on the way up. We reached Camp 4 again the next evening at 6 o'clock. It was almost 23 hours of continuous climbing. You just sort of crawl into your tent, keep breathing your oxygen. Early morning next day, we got up, we bypassed Camp 2, Camp 3, came down to Camp 2, and here I had a hot cup of tea again. You stay the day there at Camp 2, and next day you get up early, bypass Camp 1, and come down to base camp. And it's only when you reach base camp that you allow the celebrations to start, and you realize that, yes, you have successfully summited Mount Everest. You can see how burnt our skins are, but that's because whatever SPF 150 you use, whatever you use, because of the UV rays over there, you get very badly burnt. But as we are celebrating over there, we were told that a storm is coming in, so get out as fast as possible. So we got this helicopter to come in and take us out back to Kathmandu. You can go from Everest Base Camp back to Kathmandu in a helicopter, but you cannot fly in because you can't fly in directly to 18,000, 17,000 feet. You'll get acute mountain sickness, and within 3 minutes or 5 minutes, you'll just collapse over there. So you can come out in a helicopter. So we got the helicopter there. And here I'm hugging my team leader for one of a fantastic once in a lifetime experience and getting into the helicopter. And it's a very lovely helicopter ride from base camp to Kathmandu, because the helicopter just follows the valley and comes lower and lower down. And here we are now going to take off from, that's taking off from base camp. And you can see now we'll be following the valley and coming lower and lower down towards Kathmandu. So this is the valley that we are following down. You can see here the glacier. So we'll just skim above the glacier and come lower and lower into the valley. But we were doing this because we were trying to get out of the clouds. But you can see here the clouds coming in over there. And if you can see that a pilot as low as possible here following this valley just above that river over there. But you can see the clouds gathering ahead. And it became pretty nervous for me here. I started feeling pretty nervous because we were so low and so close to the mountainside. And I was thinking to myself that this is not how it's supposed to end. But we went into a whiteout. The pilot couldn't see anything. And so he found a field over there where we landed over there. The clouds didn't clear that day. So we had to spend the night over there in some of the huts that were nearby. And it was only the next morning that we caught up to a clear sky and we could fly back to Kathmandu, where I had a lovely bath and a warm bed to sleep in after almost 2 months. So if there's any message in this talk, it is to dream big. Dream big and take that first step. Because once you stand on the summit of your Everest, whatever it may be, it's not the summit that you would have conquered, but yourself. Thank you.
Wow, this is amazing.
Thank you.
This is completely amazing. I mean,
He deserves an applaud.
absolutely.
An absolute applaud, man.
Life-changing experience. I mean, full of excitement and nature, adventure, challenges. Amazing. I mean, I have no words.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So would anybody like to have, does anybody have questions for Doctor?
Not a question, but I mean, it was mind-blowing. I mean, you need guts to do this. I don't think I ever have guts to do this. Congratulations, and you are amazing. Just very lucky.
Doctor, I'm still catching my breath going to the Everest and back with you.
Okay.
Doctor, I have a question. Doctor, I have a question.
Yes, please.
What is the training that you did planning to go on this trip, including carrying of equipment and you know, the weight on your shoulder plus your body weight plus what you were wearing and plus you had on all that?
Generally, actually, when you start your climb, initially when we are walking towards base camp, we'll have approximately 15 to 20 kgs max in our backpacks. The rest go in on the yaks. And we train with approximately 15 kgs of backpack. But as we go higher up and higher up on the mountains, because we do this up down so many times, as we go up, we leave some equipment there, then come down. So once we are on the mountain, we are not really carrying much. And as I mentioned on the last day, it is just 2 of your oxygen cylinders that you carry and nothing else. So we are very light, and as light as possible, the higher we go. But of course, up to base camp, we are carrying approximately 15 kgs on our backpack.
Okay.
All I can say is, wow. I mean, that the views were fantastic. And yes, like you said, it's the courage that it takes to, you know, take that first step. Amazing. And
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Especially the way you took us to the strip, we actually at some moment you're feeling that, you know, we are right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes.
From the first, you mentioned that from the first base camp, you go to camp 1, then camp 1 to camp 2, again you come back to base again. What's the purpose? Just to acclimatize yourself? Or?
Yes, it's just to acclimatize yourself to the, not so much to the cold, but to the low oxygen levels. Your body has to get used to that. So that's why you climb high, you sleep low. So that is what you do. So you always go little higher, then you come down and sleep. Then you go higher, then come down and sleep. Because that's the only way you can acclimatize it. Even with oxygen, that's the only way your body will acclimatize to it.
But right from the base camp onwards, you have to start wearing a oxygen cylinder?
No. We start with oxygen only from Camp 4 onwards.
Okay.
Yes. Some teams
And
like
that is a one-time climb, right, sir? Or you're going up and coming down again?
No. Camp 4 upwards, it's just one time.
Okay.
Yes. So up to Camp 3, you're doing up, down regularly. But beyond Camp 3, it is once. Because as I said, that's the death zone. So that's why, yeah, you want to be as short of time as possible in the death zone.
So I wanted to ask you, Doc, thank you first of all for this lovely narration. I think it's so beautifully captured. Like one of them said, I think it really felt like, we're there, but obviously nothing, close to that for sure with all the hard work. So like you get acclimatized to go and to climb this. Once you were back from this trip, did you have to go through any particular, acclimatize, like to acclimatize yourself to the normal way of and temperature of living?
No, once you come back, it's you're coming into an oxygen at a rich atmosphere. So you are absolutely fine. In fact, you feel very fit once you get back here. But the only thing is you have the mental exhaustion. You're really exhausted when you come back.
Right.
So yeah, but apart from the exhaustion, there's
The
no
food and everything was like normal then from the next day.
Yes. But you come back and you can gorge on anything. You can eat anything because you have to regain all the weight you lost. You don't have to feel guilty about it. So coming back, there's no problem.
Great. And do you also, I'm sure it like takes a lot of financial planning as well, right?
Yes,
because you're doing like a big trek. So, what was like your, the finance part of the whole, trek?
Yeah. So because I went with one of the cheaper teams, foreign teams, it costed me 35 lakhs. But nowadays, it would be anywhere upwards of 50 lakhs if you want to go with a foreign team. I think there are some Indian teams where it will be cheaper, but it is very expensive. It is the costliest mountain to climb because to put you on top, there is a whole lot of logistics behind it, a whole lot of Sherpas there.
Right.
And yeah, so it's a big team that has to be surrounding you and helping you to get yourself to the summit.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So one more question.
Sure.
I saw while you all were getting into the helicopter to come back, I saw a lot of the Sherpas staying on there.
Correct.
How would they have come back, or would they have stuck on?
No. They stayed till the storm blows over, and then they came back.
So they would have actually fought the storm.
Yes. Yeah. We faced many storms over there. The idea why we had to get back in a hurry actually was because the South African had a press conference and was on a timeline to get back to South Africa. So that is why we all got back from the helicopter, so she could meet those deadlines.
Okay.
Yeah, but otherwise, many other teams also, you just wait for the storm to blow over, because at Everest Base Camp, you are pretty safe.
Okay.
Murad, I have a question.
You said to get to the summit, you had to walk for 24 hours at a stretch?
Yeah, it was almost 23 hours, yes. It depends upon your speed. Faster people would do it in about 12 hours, 16 hours. It took me 23 hours.
So this is to and fro?
Up from Camp 4, you start in the evening, reach the summit, and come back to Camp 4.
23 hours continuously you walked?
Pardon?
23 hours is what you walked at a stretch?
Yes. You can't stop on the way. It is too dangerous. You'll get hypothermia. You can't. You have to keep moving. You have to keep active.
Murad, I have a question for you, Murad.
Yes.
When you are in one of those camps in the tents, are you allowed to use some kind of a communication back with your family?
Once you're there, there's no network. So it has to be via satellite phone. And satellite phone also works depending upon the cloud cover, etc.
So till what level are you there till Camp 3, or you can do the satellite?
No, satellite phone, even at the summit, you can do.
Okay.
Provided it's the clear sky, yeah. Satellite phone, anywhere it works. But if you will not have your regular network, your mobile cell network.
Doctor, how does it feel to be in the death zone? How does the body feel?
You are dying there. You are totally exhausted over there. And literally, for every step you take, it's such a laborious process. So much so that even just drinking a glass of water, you can't drink it like that, gut. You have to take for every sip you take and you swallow, you sort of stop, you get back your breath, and then you take your next sip. And
Yeah.
you are supposed to say, keep yourself well hydrated there, but because of the high altitude, you have nausea, you can't eat, you can't hydrate yourself, you can't even sleep at that altitude because you get something called chain stroke breathing, where as you doze off, you sort of stop breathing reflexly, and then suddenly the carbon dioxide levels in your body, they rise, and then it kicks in and you suddenly get up gasping for breath. So it's miserable to be in the death zone.
And but going to base camp is also a beautiful sight. Is it
Definitely.
okay and safe for everyone to go there, or you
Plenty
still
of-
need to be specialized for that?
No. Plenty of people do base camp. Base camp is no climbing. It's a pathway all the way up to base camp. So anybody can do base camp, but only thing is, yes, you have to have some basic level of fitness, and more importantly, don't rush in. Otherwise, the main thing you're fighting while going to base camp is the altitude.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to take it slow and easy and go in. In case you get a little headache or anything like that, come down a little, rest it out, wait a day, your body gets acclimatized to that, then slowly again start ascending. So the only thing to base camp that you need to worry about is the altitude.
Okay.
So base camp is at what height?
17,600.
Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. That's really great to know.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Doctor, would you know the Siachen glaciers is at what height comparatively?
Siachen, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is 18,000 feet.
Thank you, Doc, for sharing your amazing experience. Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can I invite Pooja for the official vote of thanks, please?
Thank you, Smita. Thank you so much. And I think most of us are still spellbound. When you opened the house for asking question for a few seconds, I think nobody was able to, ask anything. So I thank you, Dr. Murad Lala, a lot for sharing a wonderful experience of this epic journey. For us, climbing mountain would always remain a Herculean task. And it's more amazing with your challenging, otherwise so challenging profession of medical. You could devote time to undergo this practice, follow tough regime. So now none of us can, if we complain that we do not find time to pursue our hobbies, interest, or any workout schedule, it's only an excuse. So आपने एक बार फिर से प्रूव किया कि अगर इरादे पक्के हों तो कुछ भी संभव हो सकता है. I will also thank Smita, Dr. Pritam, Dr. Himalini for arranging this wonderful evening and introducing us to this hero who lives among us. So once again, Dr. Murad, thank you so much for sharing your amazing, wonderful, thrilling, inspiring story with us. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Murad, one more request. As mentioned before the payment, kindly consider our request to join our club as a member.
I'll speak to you, sir. Sure.
We are going to persuade you on our behalf, but
yes, I'll take step by step, one step at a time.
One step at a time. Yeah. With full oxygen.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Tejal, can you give the secretary announcements?
Hi, everybody. Today we had 48 logins. The next meeting is a fellowship on the 29th of May. Details will be announced. Thank you.
Thank you, Tejal. The meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you and good night, everyone.
Money gift.
Hi, guys.